Good morning, everyone. It's a nice Saturday morning in Edinburgh, but if I look out my window where I live, it's raining heavily. So I thought we'd do another stream in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We're on the ground at Edinburgh Airport. We've got the jetway connected, and we're just doing some planning before we set off. You see in the background some pretty spiky pyramids in Edinburgh, not native to Scotland, but yeah, it's something that Microsoft Flight Simulator will be correcting hopefully going forward. Another British Airways in the distance there, looking to get underway on his journey. So, a short flight down to London today. We'll get our brief in from Simbrief, load it into the Airbus A320, talk to Navigraph and the route and how we plan that, and hopefully you guys will learn something. As always, look, I'm a general aviation pilot in real life. It's a hobby, it's not my job, and this is definitely a hobby I learned from watching other YouTube channels, and try my best to sort of mimic and then learn from what I have also from my hobby, to make sure that we get a fun experience and we're not getting too stressed. Although, let's see as we get more towards London and how we descend, how that works out. So just bringing checklists up here, make sure that we're doing this on. So batteries come on, external power. We turn on the APU, give it a couple of seconds. APU starts, probe windows, and then APU bleed. Just turn up the panels here, and again there'll be panel lights down here that we just want to turn up. Not expecting it to get too dark, but it's just better to have these set up. You can also say some frame rates by turning off these two panels. Unless you want Copilot, which unfortunately does not come with Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. So we just have a flick through this. Cockpit preparation, so we can flick up to the overhead panel. Let's just get the gyros lining up so it knows where we are. Turn on the fuel pumps, give our crew some oxygen, and seatbelt sign, bring that on. No smoking, very old school, and we'll arm the emergency exits, and that pretty much covers that side of things. So the FMS, let's get into how we do this. Just clear that flight number news, it seems to come up. Someone can tell me why, that would be amazing. So I've had a look at the weather at Edinburgh. There's a wind coming from the east, which usually would mean we're going to use runway 6, I think it is. We'll just bring up Navigraph for you guys. So we're basic part down here at the terminal. You can see there's runway 06 and 24, and what we try and do when we're flying is take off into the wind. It provides lift under the wings, and it means that the takeoff roll hopefully will be shorter rather than having a tailwind. So we're most likely going to taxi out via Echo. We'll trundle along Alpha to Alpha 1, and then we'll take off. I don't think there are any controllers on at the moment, so we will just communicate on Vatsim on the Unicom control frequency. So how do we set this up? So I've got this link to Simbrief, so I literally have planned it, and there's lots of videos on YouTube if you want me to do one on how we plan on Simbrief. It's pretty simple, but now that it's linked into this, I literally click this button, and it should, fingers crossed, bring this in. Yeah, clearly not in database, that does happen sometimes. So it's got our route, Edinburgh to London, got a flight number, so we're Speedbird 185, and it's got a cost index, what our cruise level is quite high, 370, and we can then do some pretty cool stuff in here. So if we go into, not data, but MCDU, or the MICDU as some people call it, very Scottish, go into AOC menu, performance, weight and balance. So if I just zoom out, you can see over here we've got the gross weight of the aircraft. This actually pulls in the fuel from Simbrief, I think, and I think it just makes life a bit easier. If you see me in the Zeebo mod, slightly different. You have to do this, and it's a bit more realistic, but this hopefully keeps things simple for the casual flight simulator. free fuel. And let's put that in. And if we go to the payload, add that in. So you see it just adds in if you click this load button here, which is great. Performance wise, so we're going to take off with one flap setting. 131. So you just click on these buttons and it actually pre-populates it for you in terms of your V1, V-rotate and V2 speed. Transition altitude is usually 7500, but like there's no air traffic control around, so we'll set to standard pressure probably quite early after we take off. In terms of the flight plan, so our departure, we said we're going to go out of runway 06. Edinburgh's pretty simple. There's pretty much 3 standard instrument departures, and from looking at Navigraph, I know it's the Gotham 1 Delta departure, so we'll insert that. And if I just show you on Navigraph, if we go into standard instrument departures and go to the Gotham departures, so they all head off down towards this waypoint Gotham. We're taking off in this direction, so it's the 1 Charlie. Sorry, I tell a lie. It's the 1 Delta. 1 Charlie comes this way. 1 Delta. So initially 44 degrees to DME3. Left turn 257, and there are some height constraints, so we need to be above 5,000 but below 6,000. Again, just getting to within the VOR DME30 on that arc 6,000. Trundle along, get to Cumbo, which I think is Cumbernauld, and then a left turn down to Gotham, and then on to our route that's been calculated in Simbrief. It's all pretty simple. We'll punch in an arrival for Heathrow. It may change. I think there might be someone from air traffic control on, so we'll do that as we get nearer. But I'm expecting per Simbrief it's going to be 9 left, and it'll be a Nugra 1 hotel. So that's quite interesting. Again, if you're using this Airbus, it does it in alphabetical in order. We've got some Logan arrivals and then Ockham, but there's not anything with an N in there. But if you keep going through the list, it'll start again, and we should, there you go, get the Nugra 1 hotel. It's asking for a via, but actually we're going from sort of, our route goes Lakey direct to Nugra and then Nugra 1 hotel, so we don't need a via. So we insert that, and that's pretty much our flight plan done, guys, which is very simple and easy to do if you're new to flight simming. Just touch on the brightness here. We can also check it on the map. So we just zoom in and have our, let's just get both of them in. There we go. So we can step through. So you can see that we're going to take off, and this is our Gotham 1 Delta departure. So we go around to Cumbo, down to Gotham, and Fenwick, and we go south across the UK, and then into Nugra, Tobid, Soppet, there's a waypoint, Whiskey, Charlie Oscar, then to, I think that's the Bovingdon VOR, but I could be wrong. And from there we expect sort of, not to do this elaborate sort of loop into London Heathrow, but just hopefully we'll get some vectors in from there. Sometimes the data within Flight Simulator 2020 doesn't really match the actual published SID or star, so be aware of that. If you're unsure, then it's worth just asking the controller for vectors, or do it offline and just check that first, just so that you're comfortable with the route. But I'm comfortable with that. So we'll open up our checklist again in terms of where we've got to. So look, we've done all the this side of things in terms of the flight plan. That's a good point. This is why we have checklists. So if I go to the next page on the init page, if I just get us down there. So on init, next page, we can calculate the 0 foot weight. Click that button there. Oh, and it goes in. And fuel planning, click that button, confirm it. That should, in theory, just populate everything. Like so. Could put in a trip wind. I'm not sure how important it is. More learned Airbus pilots than me will be able to tell you that. Done the takeoff data, which was in the performance. You can see it's takeoff here. Glare shield, which is this little knobs and dials here. Turn on the flight directors. It's dashed. Initial climb, so we saw on ours it's 6,000, but like we're on Vatsim and there is no controllers around, so we probably just continue our climb right the way up to 370. We'll obviously talk to people on Unicom just to let them know what our plans are. We don't want to be conflicting with anyone, but we'll put up to flight level 370 there. We've done all of this, done all that, clock's fine. And the only thing really on the pedestal that I tend to sort of pay attention to is down here. So the weather, radar, turn to 1, predictive wind shear to on. And we'll just set up our squawk code, so we'll put 2100 in there. Got that on, so that is all good from my perspective. Fine. So I think we're getting close to starting up, which is great. Let's just have a little look around. Oh no. I'm going to tune the frequencies using VPilot, and it's just easier for me to do that. I've had a couple of instances where I've been coming into airports where I've been using these radios. I wonder if we can demonstrate it here actually. So let's see. So if I go to, let's say, I don't know, let's just change this to a random frequency. Flick that across to there. So that's what that would change, and that would be on Vatsim. We'd be able to talk to someone. If I want to check my iOS as I'm coming to Heathrow, flick up that nav, click the nav button, click iOS. So it's got it tuned 110.10.5, but look what happens down here and to these frequencies. So if I want to move back into what my radios in terms of talking to air traffic control, I click nav and it resets everything. So that's gone to 7,000, and it's also reset the back to these frequencies. So it's not particularly friendly, and I've had that happen as I'm coming into an airport, and yeah, I had to revert to text and apologise to the Vatsim controllers, but all kind of good fun in terms of how this does. Okay guys, so I am just going to have a little look outside, so we can probably remove the jetty now. So let's take that away. A little bit nervous about this truck under my wing. I mean, let's see if we can just get a bit closer. Yeah, that's a that's a report waiting to happen, isn't it? All good though. Look, like this guy here is sleeping on the job. Should be rolling the trucks, getting them out to us. All right, look, it's just a simulator, guys. Love it. I'm not going to do my announcements on voice for the Vatsim side of things. I'll put it into the text box just because I've had a little look around. I've got VatSpy open, which is quite useful, which sort of shows the people coming into Edinburgh and people departing. So it's pretty simple, but we'll push back and then we'll announce our taxi as well. So let's just get back in the cockpit. External power, we'll just disconnect, which is here. And we'll put the beacon light on. And we will start to get our pushback from our man outside. So he should just, he's pretty quick. Crumbs. So we'll take the parking brake off. We're going to ask him to push back. So we swing round as we look at it here to the left, so our tail swings round to the left. And we'll start our engines as well while we're in the pushback. So I believe you can start both at the same time, but we're going to just do one at a time. So, starting engine number 2. Oh, we're going to push back, aren't we, guys, and hit this. What is happening over here? Let's see. Oh. Oh, I think that's fuel. Right. we probably don't want to push into that, but let's see what happens. We'll just start our engine, and we might just let him push us as far as we need to go. Pretty sure it's not there in real life. Quite exciting if it was. We'll just get the tail dangling over it. That will I'll slam the parking brake on as well. Did we make it? Is it going to be another accident report? No. Perfect. Wouldn't want to be the person sort of... oh, hold on. We're still going backwards. Please stop. Okay. No, you can stop now. That's fine. There we go. Ooh. The fuel's come up because he's parked right next to the wheel. Well, I guess that sort of works. Let's start engine number 2. Okay, so he's not leaving us. Oh, it's definitely an accident report now, isn't it, guys? Yeah. Well, 2 and 1 is not in the pushback phrase. It's probably a record, to be honest, but let's see. So we got our route there. RSO aligned. You can see you get some pretty cool warnings here that tells you what's happening in the Airbus. So parking brake is still set. We've got APU bleed on, seatbelts. So engine startup we've done now. Let's just wait for that engine to spool up, and we'll then go through the next checklist. Okay, so engine looks stabilized. Let's go to non. And APU bleed can come off, which is up here. That's the APU bleed button. Master switch will turn off while we're up here as well. We need to obviously arm the sorry, my joystick just keeps just around. Arm the speed brake. You just pull that up. Let's put some lights on for taxiing. So this is the nose wheel to taxi. Put the runway turn off lights on as well. Put our strobes on. Navs, which is cool. Auto brake max, which is that button there. Flight directors we already got on. I think we're good. Yeah, we'll turn lights when we get there. Okay, guys, let's set off on our journey to Heathrow. Graphics are great in this sim. Really big fan. And hopefully the stream is smooth for you guys as well. I was having a few stuttering issues before. Now, I have seen on Vatsim that someone's reporting that they are coming into Heathrow runway 06, which is good because you can look at the Vatsim chat when you use it, and you can tell what runways are in use. So, and I guess if everyone's heading towards one runway, that keeps things a lot simpler. If I was taxiing over to runway 24, and then the guy coming in was coming the opposite way, you can see how you get some conflicts happening. So we're just going to follow this wiggly yellow line. It's important to follow yellow line because it keeps you clear of obstacles and other aircraft. And we're sort of rallying our way out. But we're not taxiing particularly fast. Ground speed of 10, 11 knots. And then we'll take a left turn here. Can you get an outside view? So if you're unsure if your nose wheel is sort of tracking the way it should do, you can follow it from the outside. Again, you can see the pyramids in the distance high. I've been to Edinburgh, and I'm 99% sure that there are no pyramids there. If there are, they're a new addition. So that's something that's happening in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think they're looking to fix that in the next update, which hopefully will be in a couple of weeks' time if you're tracking against that as well. So we're cantering along. Let's just slow it down a little bit. And I'm just going to use VatSpy to see. I might just let this chap land, to be honest, because we are slowly getting out there. So again, like, purposes of checklist. So we've got auto brake max on, we've got the signs on, cabin will check, flaps takeoff. So we haven't done that, which is quite interesting. And Sort of forgot about that while we were having our fuel excitement as we push back. So I have it on my Airbus Thrustmaster joystick. I just press a button and you'll see it's moved to flaps, and that ticks that off. We'll ding the cabin, make sure that they are ready. Which is great. And there's a button just to check here, takeoff configuration. Click that. Everything's green on our, and you get a little announcement from the captain as well. Everything's green there, which is great. So we'll just slow down. As we come towards the holding point. And he's just said that we are clear to go in front of him, so we'll do that. So we'll just get onto the runway and go, actually, because this guy wants us to get ahead of him. Okay, so that was quite a rush, guys. Sorry, I was typing to him in Vatsim just to make sure. So I put the run lights on. We've already done the takeoff config. So let's go. Just full power. That engages toga. Airspeed's alive. We're a little bit off the centre line, but not hugely. That was a bit of a wiggle. Ooh. And let's rotate. Might have been a bit of a crosswind there. Gear comes up. Again, got that set on a button. And we're sort of then following the flight director. It's a little bit jerky, but you see the green cross in here. That's what we're following. We're over 1,000 feet now, so we will engage our autopilot and start our turn. So what the autopilot is doing is it's following. It was going to D051 Charlie. It's now tracking to GAL 35, which is this waypoint here. So we'll start our turn. It can be quite jerky in terms of what it does, but it's pretty cool, isn't it, guys? I mean, look, some great weather, and there's an update coming to this this part of the UK, hopefully in the next one, and that'll get rid of the sort of spike that we can see in the background there. But yeah, just a few molehills. I know Scotland is pretty hilly, but I'm not sure it's that hilly. So hopefully that'll change it. Let's jump back in. There we go. So I'm talking outside, we're getting over speed. That's because I didn't bring the flaps up. You also see it's flashing here, lever climb. So what we do is we bring these back to there, and you see it goes into thrust climb. We also just had another warning, so it's all happening. If I just brighten this down here, anti-ice, so it's pretty sensitive, the anti-ice, and we've just broken through clouds. We'll put it on to shut it up, but that gets rid of it. And because of the sun, we'll just brighten some of these things up. It does a great job of simulating it, but it can be a bit frustrating. So we're climbing up to a flight level now, so let's just set the barometric pressure to standard. That means that all aircraft are flying at the same level above the transition altitude. And you'll see that this will jump slightly because we're on QNH 1004, and this will put it to 1013 basically as standard. So it jumps up. But that's a set. Beautiful. It's a nice day in Edinburgh. Doesn't always match the reality of what is going on outside your window if you're there. But yeah. beautiful day to fly. And we might also see other aircraft, although, as I said, the TCAS doesn't quite work in Flight Simulator 2020 at the moment. Give you guys a bit more view of the cockpit. So, look, we've gone, again, this checklist here that we can use after takeoff. So, now indeed, AP master switched off. We're still in norm for this. We can deactivate the speed, the arm spoiler speed brake, and that was just in case we had a rejected turn off. We've got anti-ice on, climb. We're in flight plan. We're in climb. We're on standard, that was bad check. We've got the anti-ice. Can't tilt this at the moment. We're through 10,000 feet now, so let's bring the landing lights off. No, there we go. Seatbelt signs can come off. I wonder if we can get there. That's no smoke. Seatbelt. So that releases the passengers. And those checks, can do them. I'm not sure they do very much in the mod at the moment. And we're all good until we get to descent. So pretty simple, guys. What we could do as well, and what we may do is, and I'll just show you this, is you can see that we've got sort of, we're going out towards Cumbernauld, then to Gotham, then to Fenwick, and then we take a left turn, and that's when we start heading towards Heathrow. Now, it's usually quite advisable to fly the published departures, and the reason for that is there may be other airports around that have traffic coming into them where people are following arrivals in, and therefore they might be conflicted with you if you go off this track. If you're comfortable that there are no other aircraft around you, you could take a bit of a shortcut here. So we could go direct to Navso, and I've just had a little look around. There aren't any aircraft near me on Vatsim, so we'll do that. I'll just show you how to do that if you're interested. So this is your flight plan down here. Just scroll through. So it's a bit strange. You'd think the down arrow would go down, but it actually goes up. So we click the up arrow, and there's Navso. Now, if you want to shortcut past Gotham, Fenwick, and Luciv, you hit the direct to button, click on Navso, which is the one we want to go to. You see then in order, it's got the yellow line, which tells us, well, we want to go directly to Navso. And now if I click direct, it brings it up. It's a bit strange, it keeps Luciv in there, and I think I've tried this before. If you just click on Navso again, click insert, hopefully it gets rid of it. It may not. Yeah, there you go. So that's how it disappeared. So have a little play with that, guys, when you're in the aircraft. It's a little bit different to maybe what you'd expect if you've been in the Zeebo mod, but yeah, still hopefully that's quite useful. And if an air traffic control ever give you a direct to, then that's the way to do it in your flight plan. I don't think at the moment, and again, someone can probably correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, that you can go direct to different waypoints. So if they gave you a waypoint that wasn't in your flight plan, and that's why I think flying on Vatsim, you have to understand the limitations of the Airbus A320. It's why a lot of people still won't fly on the network unless they've got sort of X-plane and the Zeebo 737 mod, which lets you do that sort of thing pretty easily. But yeah, it's getting the balance right. You are simulating, having fun, and the guys on Vatsim are super helpful if you need help. Let them know well in advance, and if it's really busy, you can always just say, look, I'm going to disconnect and fly offline. Where it gets really complicated is if you sort of, which I've done a few times, you try and fix it yourself and you're actually making it worse. So yeah, keep talking to the guys. If they're really busy, sometimes it's better just to log off. Nice day though. Pretty sure. I mean, I live down south, so I'm expecting that this is not going to be as good weather-wise when we get into London, and we can actually see what that looks like. terms of when we get closer, we have an ability to pull the weather. But look, we're climbing up to the cruise. What I'll do is I'll just mute myself for a bit. We'll enjoy the cruise, and you guys can. I'll give you some views from the outside, and then we'll have a chat as we get closer into Heathrow. All right, guys. I'll be back soon. Okay, guys, nice little break there. Cup of tea. You can see the weather just looks absolutely abysmal as we come into Nugra, Tobid, and Soppet. Um, if we brief the approach very quickly, if I can get that up on my stream, you'll see like we are still a little bit out, so we are the pink dot hurtling towards Nugra. Um, it's a dot, it's a triangle. So we're going Nugra, Tobid, we need to be level, flight level 200, which is what the line above and the line below means. Soppit, very similar, flight level 150. And then down to Bovingdon, which is flight level 70. And then you'll see we'd either stop there, enter a hold, which is here if we don't get cleared further. There are some speed restrictions as we go in, so 220 knots when we get to Westcott, which was Whiskey Charlie Oscar, VOR, and we'll keep it 220 knots. Heathrow is down here, so we're going into 9 left, which is this one, so we'll probably take a turn down here and come in this way, which is quite unusual. Normally we come in from the east to west, and that makes sense because if you think about our weather, it all comes in from the Atlantic, so from this side, so a lot of the winds are driving this way, and as we said at the beginning, we take off into the wind, and we also land into the wind because we can go slower but create more lift from the wind. So that's the approach briefed. We'll have a little look as we get closer, and on the ground we'll bring up the charts again for showing where we need to taxi to. I suspect we'll get an alert soon, but we haven't quite yet about getting our weather when we land. We'll talk before we talk about weather. People will have questions about when to descend in the Airbus A320. It doesn't, I think, at the moment have features that lets it do it automatically. So if you've been in a Zeebo, the autopilot will calculate the top of descent when it needs to start descending by waypoints, and you can put in heights and it will automatically calculate when it needs to start descending and at what speed, etc. And you might need to put drag, etc. And don't think this is modeled in here. What we'll do is we'll get to Nugra and we'll start our descent from there. And we normally go down about sort of 2,000, 2,400 feet, and we'll just sort of play with it to see where we get to. Normally a controller will give you descent if there are ones online, but as you can see, it's pretty quiet in the morning on Vatsim, which is good because it gives me time to sort of focus on what I'm doing rather than talking to them. There is a Heathrow approach on, so we'll start talking to him as we get closer. If we want to check what the weather's doing on the ground at Heathrow, we can go into this menu, ATSU, AOC menu, and then oh, wrong one, sorry, it's not ATIS, it's weather request. Just click on send, and that's sent. What that will do is, over here, we should at some point get a company message. Fingers crossed the VHF signal is working. Oh, and that's Vatsim. That's quite interesting. So they're doing a controller rating on Vatsim. So they put an announcement in that you can go and fly there, and that helps them out, which is great. So company messages come up. Go back to that menu, receive messages, and it has the METAR. And what we can do is hit this little print button here. Down here, this is a great feature of this mod because it means you don't have to scribble things down on a pen and paper, and you can save the environment by doing this. So that prints out, and actually we want it somewhere handy while we type this into our descent. So we'll get down to this view here. But you can see it basically brings up the METAR for Edinburgh and EJLL, which is London Heathrow. And what we want to do then is click the performance button. We're in the cruise at the moment. We go to not even descent, but our approach, and we can start punching these numbers in. So QNH is 995 hectopascals. If it's below 1,000, you have to say hectopascals at the end of it, which is a bit of a tongue twister. So if they said QNH 1,000, you say QNH 1,000 or 1013 or whatever it is. If it's below 1,000, you'd say 995 hectopascals. Just some of the quirks of phraseology that happens when flying. See, it's flashed up with this enter destination data, which is exactly what we're doing. temperature in London today is this 5 degrees, 4 degrees dew point, but 5 degrees. The closer they are together, the more likely it's going to be rainy. Our wind is 080 at 13 knots, which sort of proves our point that we're expecting runway 09 left. And I've actually picked up the ATIS through Vatsim, and that's confirmed that. Transition altitude, again, is on the ATIS that you guys won't see, but it's on a separate screen for me. 7,500, so that's when we would convert from standard pressure to the airport pressure, local pressure. That's all we need to do there. We could put in things like minimum decision altitude. This is not on the charts. For me, I'll put 150. You can be a lot more scientific about that, and it probably pays if you want to be a bit more study level. But for me, that works perfectly fine. Okay, so we're coming up to Nugra now. You can see we're sort of 22 miles out. So we'll start a gentle descent. And to do that, let's get down to our constraint at Tobit, which was flight level 200. So we'll just go down to there. Engage selected altitude mode. And what I do is then use vertical speed. So let's just put it at 2000 for the moment. And you'll see we'll start to descend. And then we'll just adjust it as we get closer. And it takes a bit of sort of judgment. I will get it wrong inevitably sometimes. But you're looking to hit Tobit by flight level 200. And then as we continue on, Sopit's flight level 150. And then down to flight level 70 as we get into Westcott, the VOR. But all pretty smooth so far. Most difficult part is landing, so let's hope we continue on our merry way. So we've got a bit of a crosswind here at the moment, which is fine. Just means we're probably flying quite inefficiently. The airplane will have to turn into the wind to track this green line here. So it won't be going in a straight line, it'll be cocking into the wind. Think of it like a river when you're going down in a boat. The wind's exactly the same. It will carry you the direction of that travel, and you need to steer either into it, usually into it, to maintain your track. If you've got tailwind, obviously you hooch along and it's a lot easier. So just starting that descent into Heathrow. It's not busy on Vatsim, so not envisaging any delays. You can have, if people have done midweek madness at London Gatwick, which is quite interesting to take part in. What they tend to do is they will stagger takeoffs and landings if you're in the UK to make sure there's gaps, but you can easily be holding in the Gatwick hold for sort of 15, 20, even half an hour. So you need to know how to do the hold there. It's quite interesting. There's a number of streamers who are on the Vatsim network who are air traffic controllers who will stream during that event, and it's quite interesting if you just want to watch and see how they coordinate things. It's not just sort of one controller controlling one sector. They all talk to each other, and then there's people who oversee what they do to make sure that they're coordinating the flows of traffic, which is it's quite interesting, like, as a hobby, to understand how these guys do it, and the training that they go through. They're really really on their game. So that's us starting our turn towards Tobit. Got sort of 59 miles going into there, and I think our descent rate will be okay. We'll see as we get closer. Also depends on the speed you're doing. So you can see our ground speed is pretty fast at the moment, 445. Our indicated sits at Mach 0.78. When does it get? I guess the question is, when do you convert this ticker tape into a Mach number rather than just being knots? I'm pretty sure it's when you get to about flight level 270 or 280, and the aircraft will automatically do it. But again, be aware of it. Some air traffic control will ask you to stick to a Mach number when they're flowing traffic into an airport. So if you want to control your airspeed, this button here, if you do engage selected, you'll see you can change your Mach number. And if you want to go back into the auto throttle, controlling it through the FMC, I think, manage speed, just click that up and it goes dashed. So we'll move it back to where the flight computer wants the speed to be. About to dip into some cloud. We do have the anti-ice on. engines. I wonder if we're covering. No, we're not actually. Sometimes it can be quite aggressive in terms of the way that it models the icing on the airframe. It doesn't happen like that in real life, but I say it's a simulator. We're not here for 100% realism, although some people may argue that. So we'll just gently continue our descent at the moment. That's looking pretty good. We're passing 28,000 feet, so we've probably got 40 miles you can see on that ring there towards Tobit, and then we get to Soppit, and it's a bit more of a steep descent there, so that we've got to descend 5,000 feet there, and then you'll see we go on to Westcott, which is a WCO VOR here, and then we take a left turn into Bovingdon, and at some point we're going to have to talk to our chap on approach. I think when we get to Tobit we will do that, because he probably isn't controlling right out to that area, but we are we'll be getting close to him. We keep on Unicorn, just Unicorn, just to make sure that we can talk to other aircraft if we need to. And in theory, and I was probably being a bit lazy because I was talking to you guys, you would announce your descent and the star that you're going on, so I will do that. Just now, just on text. And we're on a Nugra 1 hotel, I think. Yeah, so we just announced that on the chat to the rest of the guys on Vatsim. Going through some cloud layers at the moment. Get a feeling the weather's going to be horrible in Heathrow today. I flew last night on a bit of a test stream going to Gatwick. I could only see the runway probably about 20 feet off the ground, which was quite exciting. Which would normally, I think, be a go-round, unless you're doing an automated landing. But again, we're in the sim world, so we can sort of do what we want. Beautiful aircraft, though. Beautiful graphics. Just going through these cloud layers. It does look super good. There's a bit of fuzziness to the clouds on my screen. I'm not sure if it's the same on what you see on the stream, but I'm hoping it's still good quality. And like, the simulator only came out in when was it? September, I think. So it's not that old, and the development is great. And the fly-by-wire mod that I'm using on the Airbus A320 is great. It's not the standard Airbus A320. It's been put together by some developers. They keep updating it, and they keep doing a really good job on it. And it's great to see the sort of a community of people doing that. So let's just check progress. Yeah, we'll easily make Tobit by our constraint of 2,000. But as you can see, it's a bit of judgment. And we can keep going down to 15,000. Again, engage selected, but we probably just want to arrest the descent rate slightly. So you'll see the vertical speed is going in. Just bumping through some clouds. Oh, look at that. Some pretty nasty looking clouds that we're about to go through. I'm sure it'll be fine. As we get to Tobit, I think I'll have a chat to Heathrow approach. They'll normally budge you as you get closer to contact them, but sometimes it pays just to talk to them. So we'll just put his frequency in, which is 119.725. 19725.
20 knots, descend slightly later, right? B220, Delhi, flight level 8236 Whiskey Golf.
And goes forward, descent down Schwarz.
Pivot 3, resume own navigation direct Mulby.
Own navigation Mulby, super compensatory.
Yeah, we can really slow down our descent now because we are going to be a bit too low. By Tobit was flight level 200, so let's just actually keep that. Otherwise we'll go too low. And that's
Direct, hello again, for 2690.
my mistake. So Tobit, if you saw before that we had, the constraint was we had to stay at flight level 200, we couldn't go below it, so we will wait until we get past Tobit and then we'll continue our descent.
Pivot 3, climb flight level 130.
130, super compensatory.
As I said, you don't always get it right.
Speedbird Director, Speedbird 617 with you, currently...
A lot of speedbirds, so we have to listen for our call sign when we check in.
3200.
617, hello, good morning, Heathrow Director. Climb flight level 180, route direct Gascue.
Climb 180, direct Gascue, Speedbird 617.
Pivot 38, Whiskey Golf, turn left heading to 6 degrees.
So see we're approaching Tobit, so then we'll go down to our next constraint, which is the Soppit, flight level 150. Just keep listening in for a minute and then we'll check in.
Should light uniform descent to altitude 3,000 feet.
Descend to 3,000 feet, shuttle light uniform.
Should light uniform turn left heading 180 degrees.
So he's just vectoring someone into the runway at the moment. It sounds like. Okay, so we're about to hit Tobit, so again we'll...
It's very unfortunate for the ATC, mind Unicom 1 to destination.
and we're going towards Soppit, so
Unicom 1 to destination, super compensatory.
we'll start our descent further down. Heathrow Director, good morning, Speedbird 185 with you, descending flight level 150 for Soppit on our Nugra 1 hotel arrival.
Fred 185, hello, good morning, Heathrow Director, Squawk 7215.
Squawk 7215, Speedbird 185.
Should light uniform turn left heading 120
So he's
degrees,
just going to
left
flash up on his
Left
screen.
120, found that localizer established with the glide, shuttle light uniform.
Pivot 36, Golf 30, track miles runway 09 left, descend to altitude 4,000 feet, Canadian 995 hectopascals, and turn left heading 250 degrees.
The reason he gives us a squawk is we didn't get set one when we were at Edinburgh because there was no way to see, so now that identifies us on his screen to see where we are.
Pivot 36, Whiskey Golf heading 250 degrees.
250 degrees. 36 Whiskey Golf.
Okay, so at 85, hello, descend flight level 80.
Direct hello, shuttle 86 Victor, passing 4,100 to 6,000, all SIB 1 kilo.
Shuttle 86 Victor, hello, good morning, Heathrow Director, climb maintain 6,000 feet.
Climb maintain 6,000, shuttle 86 Victor.
Spirit 185, confirm descend flight level 80.
Yep, I think you're blocked. We'll descend flight level 80, Speedbird 185.
Pivot 2690, unfortunately for the ATC, Unicom 1 to destination.
So he's doing us further descent.
122 destination, 2690.
So we'll just keep going down at 2,000 feet. I think when he said it was Speedbird 85, but yeah, we'll
185, shuttle 8 uniform, thanks.
keep going. That might just turn them up a little bit. So I've turned VPilot up a little bit. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we can zoom in a little bit here. So we're going to make our soppit constraint, and we're still going down to flight level 80, so he's cleared us down further, which works for us. You can see it's getting a bit bumpy in the clouds now, and it's miserable. There's the ice that you can see on the nose, and yeah, pretty.
Spirit 36 Whiskey Golf, descend to altitude 3,000 feet, no ATC speed restriction.
30 feet, sorry, 30 feet, there's no speed restriction. 6 Whiskey Golf.
Oh, the Scottish people.
Shuttle 86 Victor, climb flight level 140.
Climb now flight level 140, shuttle 86 Victor.
Oh, severe ice. Wing anti-ice is on, and then what we do is we turn this to ignition. And that goes there. Oh, look at the colour of the weather. I'm going to say purple is not good. Let's just arrest our descent a little bit. Again, we're quite so we're just coming over Soppit and then heading into Westcott, and then we'll head to Bovingdon. Again, in general aviation, we do use these VOR, so Bovingdon, I fly sort of near Gatwick, so it's north of Heathrow, but certainly around Gatwick, and as you come into there's Lambourne. You can use them to track radios, which we might do a video on just to sort of show how we navigate using those, and to get position bearings and things like that might be quite useful. A little bit different when you're in these jets. I suspect they can still use them.
Edinburgh 36 Whiskey Golf, turn left heading 180 degrees.
Left heading 180, 36 Whiskey.
Shuttle 86 Victor, unfortunately for the ATC, Munch Unicom 122 decimal 8, good morning.
128 shuttle 86 Victor, good night.
So we'll start to slow down now because we're getting near to 10,000 feet. So you can see the aircraft is sort of trying to get us down to 220 knots here.
Bed 617, unfortunately for the ATC, Munch Unicom 122 decimal 8, good morning.
What we'll do is we'll just engage speed mode
One
and
of you
get us
calm,
down to about 230.
122.8. Thank you for your services, Speedbird 617.
Again, judgment.
Bed 185, fly heading 135.
135, speedbird 185. So he's now going to vet to us.
Bed 36 Whiskey Golf, turn left heading 120 degrees.
So we're now not following the flight director. And we'll bring in the localizer. So he's going to vet to us, which is why we're now on headings, and we've engaged that heading select mode. And you'll see we've turned to 135 here. So we're now off what the flight director wanted us to do. So we would normally go, and we're heading into sort of Westcott, and then we normally turn to Bovingdon. But I think what we'll do is go sort of, instead of Bovingdon, we'll swing right before it, and he'll vector us in towards the runway. But again, nice rate of descent. Still on standard.
Bid 185, turn right heading 175, 39 track miles from 09 left, decent altitude 6,000 feet, QNH 995 hectopascals.
Right, 175 and down to 6,000, and can you just repeat the hectopascals for me?
It's 9095 hectopascals.
9095 hectopascals, speedbird 185. So, let's just do, 995 and continue our descent to 6,000. Ooh, things get a bit bumpy in the mod. So again, we're in vertical speed. There, and we got the heading of 175. So again, we can look here and sort of sense check our position. We're heading this way, and the runway is that way. So you can see this is where we're aiming to get to. So we'll sort of fly down here, inset localizer, and go in that way. I'm sure it will be perfect. Look at that weather outside. Oh, it's gloomy. Look at us bouncing around. We don't think, we don't think we're going into Heathrow, but some sort of ice tundra.
Thanks very much for service, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Third 185, decent altitude 4,000 feet.
Down to 4,000 feet, speedbird 185. So we just keep it going. And we'll just slow right back to 220 knots. Now, if you're not slowing down fast enough, you can chuck in some speed brakes depending on your rate of descent. Let's just go at 1800. If you wanted to, you could just make sure you're below the 250 knots here. It doesn't matter what's being shown on your ground speed or your true airspeed. They're interested in what you're putting. So if you get speed constraints, make sure that you put it into here. You'll see it trying to read it. So if he said 220 to me at the moment, I'm at 240. Chuck in some speed braking, you'll see that come down. You can see the speed brakes outside.
Fluid 185, decent altitude 5,000 feet.
5,000 for Speedbird 185. I thought he'd already cleared the 4,000, but we'll just keep going. He's the boss. So we're now slowing down sufficiently to get down to 200 knots. That's at 5,000. He might clear us down a bit lower. Put the first stage of flaps in. Gives us a bit of wiggle room in terms of our speed. So we can do a bit of a landing checklist here. Get past here. Seatbelt sign. Let's get people buckled in. Probably should have done that a bit earlier there, but that's fine. Approach phase.
Fluid 185, decent altitude 3,000 feet.
Down to 3,000 feet, Speedbird 185. So again, just continuing our descent. Again, our speed will sort of tilt up a bit as we descend. Let's arm the ground spoilers. Pulling that up. And we also want to put in our, yeah, so we'll go around, which is fine. We do want to put in an auto brake, so we put medium on there. And that will kick in once we touch down. It's a nice rate of descent. My frame rates get a bit jerky here, just because of the weather. You can see you can't see anything outside. There's not even the ground at the moment.
Spirit 185, turn left heading 120 degrees from established localizer, runway 09 left, descend with glide.
Left 120 and when established 09 left, descend with a glide, Speedbird 185. So, we're just coming in. Again, we'll watch for these needles. There's no point really looking outside at the moment, guys, because you can't see anything. So he's putting us on a vector. You'll see that we come in at an angle into the ILS. It's picked up the ILS in terms of 09 left, which is what we are hoping for, and it's confirmed down here, the 110.3, and that's the distance that we've got to go. So if you're ever given speed constraints and it says sort of, I don't know, 180 to 4 DME, this is what you can use to see how close you are to the runway, and you can make sure you manage your speed to that point. When the localizer becomes alive, is the term, these pink arrows will turn solid and start to move in. At the moment it's saying the localizer is off to our right hand side and it is above us, which is fine. You normally join from below the localizer and keep it a steady height, and as you go along this will come down, it will intercept, and then we'll descend with it. This will move into the left soon, but you can see it's off to the right because the runway in relation to us is to the plane's right hand side at the moment. You could say it's on the left, but we're looking at it. Okay, so that's the approach, sorry, the vertical height coming alive. And we should, yeah, so that's the localizer coming alive. So we're moving, the plane's now turning left to incept it. Press this localizer button. You can arm it before. I did that quite late. So it's turning left to incept. We'll slow right down now. To our approach speed. As this comes in, this diamond, you can hit approach and it will capture the glide slope as well.
Bird 185, contact Heathrow Tower, 118.5, good morning.
118.5, thanks for helping, have a good morning, Speedboat 185. So, over to tower. Heathrow Tower, good morning, Speedboat 185 with you, fully established, 09 left.
Speed 185, hello, runway 09 left, close to land, surface wind 080 degrees, 13 knots.
Good to land, 09 left, Speedboat 185. It's good, plenty of time for us to get set up in our approach. Go back into managed speed mode, it will now...
Speed 185, just some traffic information for you. It's a Bell 206 helicopter operating west of Terminal 5 knots below altitude 800 feet.
Roger, traffic is copied to Speedboat 185. Interesting, a helicopter buzzing around. So we're slowing down, we'll get the gear down. There are some lights in the distance, which I think are the aircraft. So you can see we're descending with the glide. When we put the flaps in, the speed automatically calculates, and it's based on the constraints down here. So the F is the 145, which is coming in there. So we're sort of slowly just descending into the airport. I'm not sure if the flaps is sort of totally set up. It seems quite slow when you get to full flaps, but we'll do that quite near the runway. Otherwise, we are pretty much set to land. Which is very exciting, guys. Let's hope we don't stuff it up. Got the speed brake is armed. Ding the cabin. We should get a landing checklist that kicks in. I don't know if it comes in at a specific height, but we will see. So we're still heading in. I'm just going to get a chart ready to taxi as well. We'll move over to ground at some stage. I'll show you that when we land. So it's still coming in. It's still on track. You can see the diamonds are tracking against the yellow thick lines, which means the diamond's in the middle of the horizontal one and the vertical one is slightly below it, but like it's because of the wind. The wind is straight into us. It's quite strong at the moment. So it's saying it's a 30 knot headwind, which feels somewhat unrealistic given what the ATIS is, which is... it's saying it's 13 knots at 080, so we're just probably a bit more than that. About to pass sort of 1,000. Again, like, we can't see the runway at all, so we keep going. And hopefully out of the murk we'll see something soon. Oh, there's some buildings off the left-hand side of the airplane we can see. We'll keep it coming down. I'm going to disengage the autopilot quite late on in this process. We'll put in final flaps down to full.
Too low, terrain.
So we're still coming in. That too low terrain was because I didn't have full flaps in. And I'm hoping there are the runway lights. God, that was late, wasn't it, guys? We'll fly it from here. Oh, quite the excitement. And we're going to be just landing short of the runway. Oh, wow. That was was not quite, was it, guys? Whoa. Crumbs. There we go. Oh, it was all going so well, guys. I need to work on those speeds.
Media 28, request air transit back to the bay. Media 28, Roger, remain south of runway 09 right, and you can route Stanwell to Terminal 4 and report the maintenance area in sight. Stanwell, Terminal 4, and report maintenance in sight. Media 28. Speed 185, right 10 Alpha, ground 121.9, bye-bye.
Right turn Alpha and over to ground, speed 185. So we'll just sort of get our bearings here. That was horrific, guys. Horrific. So once it's on Alpha, which is
Media 28, maintenance
basically the inside bit.
Media 28, Roger, you can cross runway 27 left, remaining east of the threshold, and clear to land, the wind 070 degrees 11 knots. Clear to land and clear to cross, runway 27 left.
Speedbird 306 at stand 545, ready for push and start.
Speedbird 306, stand 545, push and start approved, face north.
Push and start approved, face north, Speedbird 306.
Heathrow ground, good morning, Speedbird 185 with you on Alpha.
Speedbird 185, taxi Alpha, Alpha to stand 50, hang on, it's changed your sign. Alpha at link 58 to join Bravo, and then Yankee to stand 522.
Alpha, link 5, Bravo Yankee, and stand 522, Speedbird 185.
That's link 58 to join Bravo.
Link 58 to join Bravo, apologies, Speedbird 185. Okay, so let's just see where that is. Get our bearings a little bit. We'll stop, I think, and just have a little look at our charts. So, where are we going? Apologies for that landing, guys. I'm very embarrassed by it. So, where's he taking us to? Alpha, link 58, he said. Then Bravo Yankee. So, link 5 is Alpha. Oh yeah, I can say link 58 is here. Then on to Bravo. Then he wants us on Yankee, which I think if we go to the parking stands coordinates, we can see here. Yankee, and then 522. Okay, so we're basically going to come along, go down here, down there. Crumbs. Alright. It's a bit of a long route. So look, guys, bit of a landing debrief there. Very embarrassing. I wouldn't copy that. I don't know what happened there. It's with the Airbus A3220. I'm going to blame it. The speeds were too low, so when I was getting low on the glide slope, I pulled back and in essence voice stalled the aircraft a little bit. That's why we sank. So I touched ground, put in full throttle, kangaroo it down. It is what it is, guys. Hopefully up until that point it's good learning. We'll get it right going forward. So we're taxiing. I'm aware that I didn't actually show sort of the navigraph point on my screen, so I'll try and do that for you guys to show our route. So, where are we? We are taxiing down Alpha, and then he said link 58, then Bravo Yankee, and we're going to park down here. just so you guys know where we're going to. Hopefully that is useful. The other sort of difficult thing, if you don't know where you are on the thing, there is a cheeky little map here, which can be very useful, because we know we're going to basically have to go down here, in here, and then turn left here. And we know that link 58 is the first one here, not the second one, so they'll expect you to know that. Oh, my credentials as a pilot have gone, guys. But all good fun. Let's just do the after landing checklist. So we didn't put any landing lights on, we're too excited. Oh, crumbs. Okay, after landing, they're off. Disarm this, which it has been. Don't know if it did. We've retracted the flaps. Let's put this to norm. You can put TCAS standby, which is this button down here, and turn that standby. Let's just check where we are. So it's not this one, it's the next left. We'll be going down. Let's get the APU on. Bleed. So we're taking this next left here, by the radar. Go away, so you can put it here. Just because of all that. That was crazy. Now I don't know if this sign is up to date. Yeah, link 58. It does say that if you could look through the ring. So we'll just turn down here. Just fine. Continue this. And then we get to parking, which is fine. So we're going to go along here. This is Bravo, we're about to come on to. So we'll tootle along here. We can take off the auto brake. Don't need that anymore. Didn't. Just absolute chaos in that landing, guys. Apologies. So you can see some of the aircraft.
Ready to taxi, Speedbird 306.
I reckon that's that guy there.
Speedbird 306, roger. Obviously there's an aircraft just pushed ahead of you. Once he gets moving, we'll get you moving.
No problem, Speedbird 306.
Speedbird 30, request taxi.
Speedbird 30, taxi Alpha, hold at Cobra.
Alpha, hold at Cobra, 30.
So Yankee is the first, right? Which is here.
Heathrow ground, Speedbird 213, heavy switchback, I'll stand 547, requesting taxi clearance.
Speedbird 213, ground. Straight ahead on Charlie, second left Bravo, hold at Snapper.
Roger, straight ahead on Charlie, second left, and
I reckon
then
that's...
hold at Snapper.
So we'll be parking right next to this guy here.
Speedbird 306, you can follow the company 78 ahead, hold at Snapper.
Follow the company ahead, hold at Snapper, Speedbird 306.
Again, the stands aren't named in here, but I can see on Navigraph that it's the second to last. So it's this one here.
Malaysian 1, taxi Tango, left Sierra, hold Sierra 11.
So we slowly turn in. Get the nose wheel lined up.
Speedbird 30, contact tower 118.5.
1185, Speedbird 30. Cheers.
Slow it right down as we come in towards stand. Again, you can always go out.
Speedbird 213, you can contact tower 118.5. Have a good flight.
Roger, 213 to tower 118.5, thanks, you have a good day.
We'll just slow it right down. And that's us on stand. Parking brake comes on. Let's cut the engines. And flight sim will do its thing. continue. So guys, that's the end of the stream. Quite exciting end as we landed. I'm surprised the Vatsim controls didn't say anything, but look, it's these things happen. You just got to get on with it sometimes. Wasn't ideal.
Speedbird
We'll
306,
have
contact
a little
tower
look at it in the
118.5. Have a
in
good
the stream
flight.
and have a little look back. But look, I appreciate you guys watching this.
118.5, Speedbird 306, good day.
Any questions, do put them in the comments, not on the landing. If you can tell me how that was better, then that'd be great. Hope to see you guys again.